Good morning. Welcome to the December 16th, 2022 post-commission meeting. If everybody's had a chance to look over the agenda, I think you'll notice on page 3, at the top of page 3, we've had one strike from the agenda, and that is Alcoa Police Department. The request they had has been removed from the agenda. If anybody else doesn't have any additions or corrections to the agenda, we'll entertain a motion to approve. Have a motion to approve. Your second? Second. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, agenda passes. Administrative matters. Well, sorry, go back to the roll call first.
Commissioner Birchfield, Commissioner Carter, here. Commissioner Cherry, Commissioner Forrester, here. Commissioner Green, here. Commissioner Halsey, here. Commissioner Isbell, present. Commissioner Jackson, here. Commissioner Russell, here. Commissioner Spangler, here. Commissioner Wagner, here. Commissioner Wright, Chairman Horton, here. Vice Chair Faulkner,
here.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have the disclaimer available letter?
All post commissioners have previously agreed to recuse themselves from any vote that constitutes a conflict of interest. The most obvious of these would include issues that involve our own departments or some we know personally. Because we have already agreed to this, it should be noted that on routine matters, it will be assumed non-verbally that these commissioners have abstained from that vote. Bigger, more controversial issues that may have a more overt conflict of interest, it may have an appearance of impropriety. Those applicable commissioners will still verbally abstain from those votes.
Thank you, sir. Any additions or corrections that need to be made to the November minutes, if anybody has noticed anything that needs to be corrected, so let us know. If not,
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the order, David saying aye.
Aye.
Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. We did not have any decertification hearings held this month, or if we did not have any informal yesterday. So moving over to page 3, Henning Police Department, hearing before the commissioners for a waiver of pre-employment requirements.
Henning Police Department requests a criminal record waiver for A.C. Pearson Jr. In November of 2012, Mr. Pearson was arrested in Lauderdale County, Tennessee for DUI. In March of 2013, Mr. Pearson was convicted of the DUI charge and has since satisfied all court-ordered sentencing, fines, and fees.
Is Henning Police Department here this morning or appearing online? Can you come forward, please, to the podium? Good morning.
Good morning.
If you could identify yourself and kind of give us your take on your pre-employment investigation in this matter.
My name is Rita M. Burnett. I'm chief of the police department. I've known Mr. Pearson for years when I was in Ripley as a police officer. He's a very dedicated fire department. He's been with the fire department for years and years. He's seeking employment. He's tried several times to get on. And since I'm chief, he asked me, would I? So I'm giving him the opportunity, and I hope to give him the opportunity also.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the chief before we speak to Mr. Pearson? Mr. Pearson? Doing okay today?
Yes, sir.
Good. Generally what we do here is we go over, you're asking for a waiver because of an incident in 2013. And can you recall that night and go, or that day, or whenever the time of day was, and kind of give us the details of what happened and how this incident came about and the outcome of it, okay?
Yes, sir. So, But that day, I just, you know, in my ex. That's why we just came from the job with my sister of course, you know, at front end lineman. I had a place and just that probably so when we got pulled over, so the officer asked me if I did the drink, I told him yes. And so I really did my time and I had, you know, paid all my fine, give down some. So that is good.
Questions of the board? Commissioner Forrester.
What was your BAC? Your blood alcohol?
Don't.
All right. Also, your chief mentioned you had unsuccessful attempts and applications in the past. What were the circumstances surrounding those rejections?
Well, at the time, you know, I like to try something new, but at the time, you know, no one doing anything. So I just, you know, kept on trying and didn't give up.
Were you given a reason for the application refusal in the past?
No, sir.
Mr. Pearson, it says that you also arrested for probation violation. What was that?
Probation, don't recall that.
Okay.
It just on for the DUI.
It would have been connected with the DUI. Did you violate probation while you were on probation? DUI?
No, sir. At the time that I was paying my fine just like the way I was supposed to, the young lady, she had told me that since I did real good on my payment, that I didn't have to come in. And so I didn't know that she had left the job to the sheriff that they got in contact with me from I didn't come in to see probation office. I talked to him, then I explained to him what was going on, but they found out that she had left the job, and I guess she didn't tell nobody that I wasn't clear. Of course,
Commissioner Wilson.
Mr. Pearson, did I understand that you work for the fire department currently?
yes, sir. I've been working with the fire department ever since 1990.
Okay, and so you was working with the fire department when you got this DUI, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did that have any impact on your fire department job?
No, sir.
And have you ever worked in law enforcement as far as like the auxiliary or reserve deputy position?
No, sir.
And what piqued your interest to pursue this career path?
Well, I did like to try something new, like, you know, serve the community and see what, you know, what all I can do for the people. And, you know, I just love it.
Do you think that this DUI will help you in decisions you'll make as a law enforcement officer, or what's your thought process on this DUI waiver if we grant it today?
But if you grant it, at least, you know, it show that, you know, that y'all give me a chance because I had learned my lesson and I ain't doing it no more. I'm a bus, you know, I'm in church and everything. I just been praying to the Lord to give me the, you know, to allow me to become a police officer.
And what's your drinking habits now?
None.
Did you seek any type of resources as far as alcohol dependency after you was arrested?
Well, I went to a class and rest I paid that back for the class. And so I got through that.
I don't know how this will turn out, but best in whatever you do from here on out.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Lieutenant Carter?
Mr. Pearson, what's your position with the fire department? Are you a firefighter or a driver?
I'm a deputy chief.
You're the deputy chief?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
I just got promoted. Back then, I wasn't. I just was a plain firefighter.
And how long have you held this position?
The deputy chief, just got it, I think about 2020.
Okay. Thank you.
May I speak?
Yes, Chief.
This is a volunteer fire department. Lucina does not have a permanent fire department. We're in the process of getting one. Everything that he's doing in the whole fire department is volunteer.
What type of work is he in right now, Chief?
That's what he does. Volunteer, and then
Are
he
they
has another
paid?
job. Sir,
They're not paid.
we're trying our very best to get them paid.
What does he have? What does he do for a living right now?
He has another job
What is it?
that I'm not sure of. We're not on that part of it.
Mr. Pearson, what do you do for a living right now?
I work for a company called Sugar Life.
What do they do?
Where we make sucrose. Otherwise, we get sugar come in on the barge and we melt it down and we send our levels for it.
How long have you worked with that company?
5 years.
5 years. What other type of work have you done?
I used to work for a company called GPA. I used to clean the schools in the afternoons. And I also used to work in the cafeteria, a lot of that kind of schools.
Any other questions of the board? Mr. Parker.
Chief, have you conducted the thorough background check that's required by the post rules?
Not at this time, sir. What we were trying to do is get people certified with the site, because they told me I cannot go any further without the site.
So why are you requesting a waiver whenever you have not actually conducted the background check on your applicant?
As a new chief, I'm doing what I was told.
Any other questions? If not, entertain a motion on how to proceed.
Mr. Chairman, as much as I respect Mr. Pearson's outlook on want to serve his community, I think that I'll have to make the motion to disapprove this waiver.
Yes, sir. A motion to disapprove the waiver.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Chief, Mr. Pearson, we're sorry, but not right now, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies.
Hang in there. Best of luck to you, okay? Thank you. Tennessee State Parks.
Tennessee State Parks request a criminal record waiver for Kyle Landon Bolden. In October of 2007, Mr. Bolden was arrested in Cookeville, Tennessee for public intoxication. In November of 2007, Mr. Bolden was convicted of the charge and has since satisfied all court-ordered fines and fees.
Good morning.
Morning.
Identify yourself for us, please.
My name is Kyle Landon Bolden.
Okay, and you have somebody with you today?
Yes, sir. Morning, Commission. Mike Douglas, Tennessee State Parks Chief Ranger.
Okay. So what did you find out in your pre-employment investigation during dealing with Mr. Bolden?
Yes, sir. During our investigation, it confirmed that Mr. Bolden was convicted of public intoxication from Cookeville, city of Cookeville, Tennessee. Offense in October of 2007. Bolden did plead guilty to that offense by paying a forfeit for that conviction. No other matters surfaced during the investigation. We also have already conducted all other requirements to attend Toledo. So he has met all other requirements with the exception of this.
Mr. Boland, can you go over with this board the details of your incident, please? They're always curious about how things went.
Yes, sir. In 2007 in October, I'm from Van Buren County, so I drove up to Putnam County to attend a club called the Library. I had went and got a hotel room, got a cab over and everything, and I went inside and got a drink. I finished my beer. Went outside to smoke a cigarette. There was a bouncer outside that I had seen several years before, and I talked to him, and I thought his last name, I was told his last name was Manure, which it turned out to be Manier. And I kind of approached him. But and I said, "Ain't you Manier from White County?" And it was like kind of like offset, but I got to talk to him a little bit, and I went back inside and had another beer, and I got a tap on my shoulder, and they said, "You need to come outside, sir." And I said, "I've not done anything wrong." They said, "Just set your beer down and come outside." So I went outside, and as soon as I walked outside, I got approached by the bouncers, and they pinned me to the wall, and I raised my voice a little bit. I was a little aggravated about it because I didn't know what was going on. And I said, "I've not done anything wrong. What's the problem?" And they didn't really say nothing. And then I said, "I want to talk to the manager." And the guy that was next to the bouncer was like, "I am the manager. You're causing a scene. You're going to jail." And it went in 5 to 10 minutes. The police officer pulled up, and I asked them, I requested a sobriety test, but they didn't say nothing, just put me in the car and put me to jail. But as I understand it now, it's you can't do a field sobriety test on public intox. So I stayed in jail for several hours, paid my bail, got out, and then they said I could pay the fines and wouldn't have to go to court. And I figured it'd be cheaper that way, so I paid the fine.
Any questions of the commissioners? Oh, that's Commissioner Holmes, go ahead.
So all total, you drank one beer and part of another one before they arrested you?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Green.
I can see how this went downhill. What's your drinking habits now?
I might drink one or two during watching a football game every so often, and have maybe a beer with my food if I go out to drink or eat at a restaurant.
Thank you.
Can I?
Yes.
Well, since then I joined the Armed Forces. I did 4 years in the U.S. Navy. Honorable discharge. I got a good conduct award. I got out in 2013. 2014, I went to Tullahoma to become a correctional officer. I went to the academy there. I was a correctional officer at Bledsoe County Corrections for a year. Quit there to pursue a wildlife degree at Tennessee Tech. I got my wildlife degree at Tennessee Tech. Worked with TWRA from 2019 to 2022. I got hired on this year with State Parks. And no further.
How old was you at the time of this arrest?
21.
And in the affidavit of complaint, it said that you was asked to leave and didn't leave. Is that correct?
No.
The officer didn't ask you to leave, or the bouncer didn't ask you to leave the premises? It's wrote in the affidavit of complaint that he was asked to leave the premises and didn't.
They asked me to come outside, and I was like, I've done nothing wrong. They like to set your alcohol down and come outside. And then they pinned me to the wall, and I was pretty much, I did nothing wrong. I wanted to talk to the manager, and the man stepped forward and said, "I am the manager at Charlton Senior, going to jail."
This one here says he was asked to leave and refused and caused an annoyance to other patrons to the bar. So that didn't happen?
No, sir.
And why did you leave TWRA?
Well, when I went to Bledsoe County Corrections, I drove through Fall Creek Falls every day, and I was raised there. I pretty much learned how to swim there at that park. My goal when I went to get a wildlife degree was to go to state parks. And throughout my going to college, I kind of got pushed into the TWRA scene. So ultimately, my goal was to be a park ranger at Fall Creek Park.
So TWRA didn't terminate you for any reason?
No, sir. I'm transferred.
And you left on good standing?
Yes, sir.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Thank you and good luck. Hope to see you at Fall Creek Falls someday.
That's it. Thank you all.
Don't let us down.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Don't mispronounce names.
Yeah.
Waivers to attend another academy. We have none. Moving over to page 4 of the agenda. Waivers are basic training and specialized substitution for in-service training. Carter County Sheriff's Office.
Carter County Sheriff requested post-commission's approval for your transition school for Dalton Samuel Taylor, hired October 4th, 2022. Mr. Taylor's last date of full-time law enforcement service was May 5th, 2019.
Somebody with Carter County with us today.
Good morning, commissioners. Excuse me. Good morning, commissioners. This is Staff Sergeant Michael Malone. I'm the training officer for Carter County, and also here with me is Deputy Taylor.
Okay. Tell us a little history about Mr. Taylor.
Mr. Taylor was hired by our office agency on October 4th this year. During the background, he does have he went to the academy at Blount County back in 2017. And his last day, he was employed by Sullivan County during that time. And then he was hired by Sullivan County May 2016. And then he resigned from Sullivan County in 2019. So during that investigation, I know with the post rules to go into transition school of the 3 to 7, just to see if the waiver, just because he's been out for a little over almost 3.5 years.
What has he done in those 3.5 years?
Deputy Taylor will talk about that.
Okay.
Shortly after I left the sheriff's office, I got a job working for a company that made night vision equipment. And due to COVID, I left that position after about a year, and then I ran heavy equipment for the Sullivan County Solid Waste Department and was employed there until I started here.
Questions of the commission? Commissioner Green.
In the letter that you wrote to the post commission, it says you're asking that he be allowed to attend transition school. Is that what you're asking for?
Yes. Well, I was hoping to get forego of the transition school just to see if he would be able to forego the transition school of able to, since he's just been out for just a little over 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Spangler, you're recognized.
Well, I can get it working. Why did you leave Sullivan County?
I was getting married. My wife wanted me to get out of law enforcement for a little while. So in the interest of my marriage, I just went ahead and found another line of work for the time being.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none. What is the wishes of the board in the matter of dealing with Mr. Taylor and Carter County Sheriff's Office?
I'll make a motion to approve.
You have a motion to approve? You're a second. Have a second. Discussion. I have two. Commissioner Forrester, you're first.
Tennessee Post Rule 1110-09-.03 waiver transition school provides for two circumstances in which transition school can be waived. Circumstance number one is when a state officer who has completed basic training is entering employment as a full-time law enforcement officer with an agency required to meet minimum standards, or when a federal law enforcement officer who has completed equivalent training to basic training is entering employment as a full-time law enforcement officer with an agency required to meet minimum standards. As a result, there is no provision in rules for a waiver of the 3-year requirement. So it's a rule violation to forego transition school in this case.
Commissioner Posey?
I just notice I have to abstain here.
Understand. Thank you. Any other discussion on the motion that is before us?
Yeah, I have one. Mr. Forrest, read the first one. Yeah.
When a state officer has completed basic training and is entering employment as a full-time law enforcement officer with an agency required to meet minimum standards, he wasn't, if I'm not mistaken, he wasn't a state agent. State employee, he was a municipal accountant. So that would be like TDI.
It has to be certified by the state, so it should fall under the same thing as the state office.
But that's referring to actual state employees from the state. That's not referring to people certified by the state. And then that's not talking about the 3 years of service. That's referencing people transitioning employment. So there's not a temporal waiver.
And I would address that. This body has made transition school a lot easier to access due to the fact that the majority of it is online now. That really the only thing that you have to appear for here is driving, shooting, firearms qualification. I would just add that to you that we not lose sight on that. But,
the issue is he's 6 months over the
yes.
limit. And that should be the discretion of the commission. And I know what the words are saying, but I don't know what the intent of that is.
Well, the state law, I can't remember, it's 38.8, I think 111 or 108, something like that, but grants the commission the authority to grant, provide procedures for waivers, what have you. During the hearing that we had, I believe in 2020, we moved from a 5 and 10 to a 3 and 5, no, 3 and 7. More. So the intent was to reduce the amount of time that somebody could be out of law enforcement before they were required to go
what
to
I'm saying
transition.
is, I don't know what the intent of the legislator was. They said state employee, state officer, what you're talking about.
Well, that wasn't the legislature, that was a post commission.
Well, I mean, state gives the commission authority. As I look at it, the state of Tennessee gives people the authority, just like the commission, to make a decision on things like that. But it also gives the sheriff's office, the police department, everybody, all the other agencies give it his authority. It gives the Memphis Police Department their authority.
Correct, but we restrict our ability once we put it in the rules, which I actually voted against that change.
Yeah, I know you did.
So I know you did. But
I've already with you before.
This is a very purpose, for this very reason. I would completely remove the 7-year person.
So your contention is because he's 6 months past that he shouldn't get a waiver because
it's in the rules.
It's in the rules. Haven't we give waivers before?
Not appropriately.
The waivers we give waivers
were in violation of the rules.
In your opinion, right?
I mean, it's
in the rules. You know, in your opinion, this is a body. We vote on the rule. Did you make the motion?
No, somebody else did. There was a motion and a second to approve.
Any other discussion on the motion to approve?
Okay, so the motion is to approve it.
Motion is to approve it.
And who's second?
I think Lieutenant Carter.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Have one no and one abstention for the record. Okay, Carter County, thank you.
Is what was is it saying that the waiver approved for the waiver for the transition school?
Your waiver has been granted. You should have a excited young man sitting beside you.
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Grundy County Sheriff's Office.
Grundy County Sheriff's Office requests the Post Commission's approval to forego basic police school for Ronald Dale Best, hired September 1st, 2022. Mr. Best was employed with the Grundy County Sheriff's Department from December 2003 to May 2004, and from September 2005 to September 2008. Chattanooga Police Department from 2008 to 2010, and Tracy City Police Department from 2010 to 2011. Mr. Best's last date of full-time law enforcement service was March 27th, 2011. Grundy County Sheriff's Office is requesting a waiver for Mr. Best to attend transition school.
Grundy County Sheriff's Office, anybody appearing, come forward, identify yourself. Been here in the last discussion, so let's see how you can fare out.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, commissioners, ladies and gentlemen of this board. I'm Sheriff Pete Gunner from Grundy County. I'm here asking for the waiver for this transition school. Deputy Best has been an instrumental part of the rebuilding of the Sheriff's Department since I was elected. Now, Deputy Best has attended not one, but 2 academies already and successfully graduated both of them. Deputy Best has been firearms instructor, EBOG, active shooter. He's been a patrol sergeant. He's been a chief of police. Right now, he helps with all of our training. He mentors our younger officers that may be a little high strung. He helps reel them in. He is a positive role model, and he is a vital part of the office. Like I said, Mr. Best has been in law enforcement for some time. Even though it shows him graduating 2001 of the first academy, he actually started his law enforcement academy in 1999, to where he was part-time with Tracy City, which is also the city that he also became the chief of police of. He was a patrol sergeant in Chattanooga, and he was also a sergeant with the Grundy County Sheriff's Department. I respectfully ask that you consider giving him this waiver, considering how he's already attended and successfully graduated 2 academies already.
Questions of the sheriff and commission? Mr. Best?
Yes, sir.
Your last law enforcement employment until you were hired by Sheriff Gunner was 2011, is that right?
Yes, sir.
I'll ask you what I've asked these others. What have you done from 2011 until September 1st, 2022?
Farm.
Farm?
Yes.
It's good. That's a good thing.
We're kids, also truck business. Farming.
Farming.
Yes.
Attended any in-service trainings? Did anything law enforcement affiliated since then?
The last one I attended, I think, was in 2012.
Yes.
And I don't know if they counted that for me or not.
Questions on the board?
I have a question. Chief said you've been to 2 academies.
Yes, sir.
What were the dates and which academy?
I attended Toledo
graduated Toledo August 31st, 2001. And got him, when I got hired at Chattanooga City, I had to attend their 16-week academy. And I graduated, I think, September 2008.
We're trying here to help everybody, but we've gotten to a point that a lot of things have changed since 2011 to 2022. And there's been a lot of laws passed, there's been a lot of legal updates, there's been a lot of procedural law enforcement things that have changed since 2011. And with society today, with the problems that we're having with law enforcement, and being that, is it my understanding, what position do you hold at the sheriff's office now?
I'm administrative. I'm considered administrative captain right now.
Administrative captain right now. With any type of administrative thing, I understand it's kind of, for some folks, it's like riding a bicycle, but it would really be good for you to get these updates. And I know you probably attended meetings with the sheriff, and you probably had a lot thrown at you since September 1st.
Yes.
But in my opinion, a little more additional stuff will just make you that much better of a leader.
Yes.
And that's my opinion. But any other questions of the board?
I don't know, question, comment. Do you go to the sheriff's meeting with the sheriff?
Some I do, yes.
So you've had some of that training?
Yes.
How much do you think you've had?
He also does our GDI, helps the chief with that as well, sir. And he attends probably anywhere from 60% or more of the meetings that I go to.
Since September?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions of the commissioners?
Mr. Best, you got any military background?
I did. I actually military contractor.
And Sheriff, are you shorthanded now or having problems hiring people?
No, sir. Since September 1, we've slowly but surely filled our numbers back up. And Deputy Best here has been a big part of that. He has worked hand in hand with the post up here on getting people's paperwork corrected, making sure post has what they need on each officer that we've hired.
So if he goes to work full-time as a law enforcement officer, what will his role be?
He's actually full-time now, sir. He is the administrative captain at this time, and he will roll into not only administration, but also the patrol captain. But his primary function will be the administration, helping with the GDI in the office.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good. More questions or comments? No. What's the motion going to be?
Make a motion to disapprove.
Motion to disapprove with a second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, no discussion. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One opposed. Motion carries. Mr. Best, I think you'll enjoy your transition school. Hang in there. Y'all are doing good. Just hang in there. Okay. Thank you. Grundy County, you're still
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I think it was disapproved to go to transition school.
Yeah, let's go to.
That was the motion, I thought.
It was my Chief Isbell, did I completely misunderstand your motion? Was your motion to approve him to go to transition school? Your motion was to waive him.
Disapprove.
For him to attend the full academy.
And to attend the full academy.
Yeah, let's go for it.
I'm sorry, let's get that record clear. I was completely misunderstanding on that. I'm sorry. You understood where we're at. Attend the academy. I misunderstood the motion. That's my apologies. Grundy County Sheriff's Office, waiver for Lonnie Ray Bradford.
Request Post Commission approval to forego basic police school for Lonnie Ray Bradford II, hired September 1st, 2022. Mr. Bradford was employed with the Tennessee Highway Patrol from 1997 to 2000. Mr. Bradford's last date of full-time law enforcement service was June of 2000. Grundy County Sheriff's Office is requesting a waiver for Mr. Bradford to attend transition school.
I'm going to read into this real quick. I'm not going to waste the sheriff and who's my neighbor at sheriff and Mr. Bradford's time, but sheriff, when Mr. Bradford come up here and we granted him his waiver to come back, we had the discussion to get ready to enjoy the academy. And I'm not going to waste this state of Tennessee and this board's time with somebody that's been out of law enforcement for over 20 years. And I'm going to make the motion here quickly that that he's going to have to attend the academy.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm sorry, but that we just cannot.
You don't have to be sorry.
That's
you don't have
well,
to be sorry, Mr. Commissioner.
And he's explained that he's been running for a long time.
Yes, sir. Yeah. You don't have to.
And
don't apologize.
I understand to you, but I appreciate your eagerness and I appreciate your enthusiasm to try to help. It doesn't ever hurt to ask, but
if you don't stand the line for your men, who will?
That's right, and I commend you for that. But this will let y'all get back to doing what you need to do and not waste your time.
Yes, sir. I have a backup plan.
Okay.
They will be attending orientation today.
I think they may have some of my mind joining them, so they can agree with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you. Hamlin County Sheriff's Office.
Hamlin County Sheriff's Office requests the Post Commission's approval to forego transition school for Bobby Jean Ellis, hired September 1st, 2022. Mr. Ellis's last date of full-time law enforcement service was February 28th, 2018. Mr. Ellis most recently worked for the District Attorney's Office as a criminal investigator.
Hamlin County Sheriff's Office. Oh, there you are. Saw you standing there. So, Sheriff, I see you there. Can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Chief Ellis there?
I'm Chad Mullins, Sheriff of Hamlin County. Chief Ellis has a background of military police and done a 28-year career at Morristown Police Department. Did not have no break-in service, went straight to the District Attorney's Office in 2018. And then when I was elected at September 1st, 2022, he became my chief. He has attended the new sheriff's 2-week school with me, and he's currently up to date now with all his requirements.
And as the District Attorney General Investigator, would you be considered a state employee?
Yes, sir.
Who was working for the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the district?
Yes, sir.
Did you have arrest authority, sir?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And we will, so your benefit, we will work on our rules because we see a lot of this with your district attorney investigators in the background. So we've got some cleaning up to do here with our board on these matters. So, thank you and congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Moving on to page 5. Hornbeck Police Department.
Hornbeck Police Department requests the Post Commission's approval to forego transition school for Ronnie Edward Moore, hired July 12th, 2022. Mr. Moore's last date of full-time law enforcement service was April 30th, 2019.
Anybody with Hornbeck Police Department with us this morning? Hornbeck, you're muted. If you want to unmute your line where we can hear you. Still mute. Well, we thought we might have heard you then.
All right. I'm the mayor of Hornbeak, and I'm here with Officer Moore. He's here this morning, and we are requesting a waiver for him to attend transition school due to the fact of his experience in police work. And he's only, I think, about 3 years and 3 months past the time limit of his full-time employment. And we would like to request that he be waived from this transition school. We are a small town. He is our only police officer. He does a good job here in our community, and the people, he's well liked, and the people would like for him to stay as our police officer, which we have no problem with his job as a police officer. So if he can be waived from this transition school, we would greatly appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Mayor. It's good to have you with us this morning. Could we speak with Officer Moore for just a second?
You sure can. He's right here.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
So yes, sir. Can you kind of explain to the board your law enforcement background, your history, and kind of give us an explanation of why you're wanting to waive out a transition school?
Yes, sir. My background is I graduated academy in 1998. I've been employed with Lake County Sheriff's Department. I started as a road deputy, worked my way up to chief deputy. 2000, I came to Hornbeak after I left Lake County because of the election. I came to Hornbeak. I worked 2 years. The sheriff I was working for in 2000 in Lake County, Brother ran, he got elected. I went back to Lake County in 2002 as chief deputy. I worked in 2006. And I came back to Hornbeak in 2007. I went back to work for Hornbeak. It's the third time I've been to Hornbeak. 2019, I left. Then I went in and retired, and I stayed out till July of 2022. And I came back to Hornbeak. I was employed twice in Lake County. This makes the third time in Hornbeak. I worked for Troy 6 months and worked for O'Brien 6 months. And when I was in Lake County, I worked for the West Tennessee Drug Task Force, also while I was working for Lake County. And I worked law enforcement until 2019 and I retired.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for your service. Questions of the board to Officer Moore? Commissioner Holmes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just had a quick, how long does it take now to go through transition school?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay.
And like I said, it's the availability of it is online. So where we used to have, 3 weeks, you would have to come here either stay or travel back and forth for 3 weeks. A lot of things have come about to where you can do this transition in the comfort of your office, other than coming here for your driving test and your firearms qualification. That is my understanding, that is all in person, man.
Final test. Show you the final test.
And the final test, that's correct, yes, sir. Commissioner Spain.
Mr. Moore, are you currently the chief of police now?
Yes, sir. I'm the only one here.
You're the only officer they have?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
How far out? On date wise, I haven't paid attention here. How far out of compliance is it?
3 months. 3 months. April to July.
More questions, thoughts, or comments, Commissioner Parker?
I've already said it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for making that note. Commissioner Russell.
I'll make the motion to approve it. Third time's a charm, Mr. Moore.
Thank you, sir.
A second.
Have a motion to approve and second. Any discussion on the motion? And I will say it's duly noted about the compliances and stuff, but I appreciate this board working with case-by-case individual situations. But anyway, without any more further discussion, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? One. Opposed. Mr. Moore, Officer Moore, Mayor? Chief, I'm sorry. I'm just messing up all over this morning. Chief. He will be recognized as chief, and please be careful. Take care of your mayor. Mayor, take care of your chief. Congratulations. And if you need us, please reach out to us, okay?
Thank you, sir. We really appreciate you.
Hey, be careful.
All right,
sir.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Madison County Sheriff's Office.
Madison County Sheriff's Office requests the post commission's approval to forego transition school for John Michael Lewaks, hired September 1st, 2022. His last date of full-time law enforcement service was September 15th, 2017. He also worked part-time for the Jackson Police Department from May of 2018 to September of 2022.
Okay, Madison County Sheriff's Office.
Hey, good morning, Sheriff Weiser. Good morning, Chairman, Commission. I got Chief Deputy Mawasco with me.
Okay. Well, whoever wants to speak on behalf of either you, Sheriff, or
I'll just give you a little highlight. John Mawasco, he's got 40 years of service, federal, state, and local law enforcement. He started with the FBI in 1975, worked in 2003 upon his retirement. He went to work for the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security, which is a post-certified position where he served from April 2003 to 2010. November 2010, John Mawasco returned to the FBI as a firearms and tool mark examiner in Quantico, Virginia. He remained there to May of 2012. September 2014, John Mawasco became the chief deputy for the Madison County Sheriff's Department, along with attending the sheriff's school during that period. He was granted a waiver at that time for the post-transition school by the Tennessee Post Commission. He served from September 2017 to 2018 as the chief deputy for the Madison County Sheriff's Department, and in 18 went to work for the Jackson Police Department, where he served as a forensic examiner for the NIBIN program. He continued to work with DEA, FBI, local and state agencies in that capacity. In September 22, John Mawasco left the Jackson Police Department to return to the Madison County Sheriff's Department, where he currently serves as the chief deputy.
Thank you, Sheriff. That's a pretty impressive law enforcement background. Any questions of the Sheriff or Madison County? Commissioner Forrester.
In terms of his service with the Jackson Police Department, how many hours a week did he work?
Sheriff, can you ask or ascertain approximately how many hours a week that he worked with the Jackson Police Department?
He averaged anywhere from 25 to 30 hours a week.
Was that a law enforcement position?
No, it wasn't. No, he was a firearms examiner. He was not a commissioned officer.
Okay.
However, I will note that he, you know, we're in the process of opening a new jail. The 100-day checklist for a new sheriff. It's been pretty demanding. He has completed his 40-hour in-service, so he's in compliance with post as far as in-service goes for this year.
And when he was an Ivan examiner, did he have any authority to issue warrants or anything? I'm grasping at straws.
I'll let Chief talk to you about all that.
Okay.
During that time, I examined firearms related evidence for the Jackson Police Department and the surrounding departments. I worked closely with the investigators, the district attorney's office, and then those cases went to trial. I testified to their results in court.
Did you have any arrest authority at all?
No, I did not.
Commissioner Halsey, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. If I've got the numbers right, he's 2 years out of compliance, I believe. No, 1 year out of compliance. Is the request because you're limited on officers, or when we were talking about the transition school only takes 3 weeks and most of that you can do from home? Can you articulate why this is a necessity?
Commissioner, we're currently in the process of trying to get a new jail open by the end of February. And this has been a big task. It's very demanding. We're about 25 correctional officers short. So we're in the process of trying to get folks hired. And that has been the chief's responsibility. One of his responsibilities is we're having weekly meetings on the progress of the jail, and it's just been very demanding, and that's been a priority, along with everything a new sheriff got to do. I would think, and this is my first post-commission meeting, in fact, capacity of the sheriff or the police chief, but I would think that this resume, you don't see many resumes like this. He's very qualified. He's had years of training and experience. So that's the reason why we requested it.
And Sheriff, it's my understanding both of you just completed 2 weeks of sheriff school since September.
I completed it. The chief here and ran the sheriff's department. He in 2017 he had completed the 2 weeks of new sheriff school when he was the chief deputy for the prior administration.
Okay, all right, thank you. Commissioner Green, you're recognized.
That was my question too, is when was the last time he had post-approved either in service or law enforcement related training?
I just completed the 40-hour required by post for firearms, EVOC, and additional training.
What year was that?
It was this year.
This year, okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I was looking over his experience and his history, and I think that it would be acceptable to make the motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Your second.
I'll second.
Commissioner Green, you're recognized as a second. Thank you. Any discussion on the motion for approval? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion for approval indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
1 no and 1 abstention. 2 abstentions. I'll indicate by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Sir.
Rutherford County Sheriff's Office.
Rutherford County Sheriff's Office requests the Post Commission's approval to attend transition school for Kevin Dale Dodds, hired October 3rd, 2022. Mr. Dodds graduated from the Dallas Police Academy on May 26, 1986. However, the Academy does not retain training documents. Mr. Dodd has been employed as a law enforcement officer for more than 34 years.
Rutherford County Sheriff's Office. Oh, they've been sitting patiently. Come on up, gentlemen.
Mr. Chairman.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, before
I'm sorry, sir.
Because I know the sheriff personally and the chief
deputy elected officials.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you've worked there long enough to meet those gentlemen. You're duly recognized. Yes, sir.
Post Commission, my name is Sergeant Benson. I'm the field training officer for Rutherford County. And we're here today asking for Mr. Dawes to be admitted into the transition school. The application process requires a syllabus in which we cannot provide. He's been documented multiple times on everything up to, but not that particular piece of paper.
Right.
And so with his experience, he's been in law enforcement for 34 years. He retired after 31 years with Dallas. He works as a chief of police up in South Allegheny, Pennsylvania. In 2019, he left there in March, I believe, of 2020 due to COVID. He came back to Tennessee for the first time, correct? And is going to go to work for us at the courthouse. He's almost to the completion of his field training with us now. With exemplary marks, he's trained a lot of our field training officers to this point. And so short of that, I'll let him speak.
Come on up. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Quickly, how much of a break from the last time, I guess, from Pennsylvania, you come back to Tennessee, how much, and you got hired at Rutherford County, how much of a break did you have?
I left Pennsylvania in March of 2020 and hired on with Rutherford County October 3rd this year.
For this year. Was there any certification issues in Pennsylvania?
There were not. And I'm still certified in the state of Texas. My certification is still current.
Did you have to go before the Pennsylvania Post Commission?
No, sir. I was sworn in by the district judge, chief of police.
Right. Okay. All right. And everything else is in, it seems to be in order, and just being that he's come from out of state, they're asking for, that he's going to have to attend the transition. Commissioner Parker.
So the issue here is just the Dallas issue with the retaining.
Correct. Yeah.
Motion to approve.
I second. Motion, second, discussion. Everybody's clear on what the situation is. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations, and please take care of Sheriff Hitchu down there. Anybody has to put up with Chief Lowry all day long. I pray for you every day, and I know that if those field training officers will really enjoy your guy. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate your patience.
Thank you.
Warren County Sheriff's Office.
Warren County Sheriff's Office requests the Post Commission's approval to forego transition school for Marcus Sean Martin, hired September 1st, 2022. Mr. Martin's last date of full-time law enforcement service was May 31st, 2019. Mr. Martin most recently worked for the Tennessee Valley Authority and has received training through FLETC.
Is there somebody representing Warren County this morning?
Yes, Major Ramsey with the Warren County Sheriff's Department. Thank you for having us here, and good morning, Commission. We are requesting the waiver for Marcus Sean Martin. He began to work with the Warren County Sheriff's Department in 1994 and continued to work through 2019. He was the chief investigator for our department before leaving with no break in service to the Tennessee Valley Authority. He attended FLETC, where he continued his training with the federal government all the way up to September 1st with the new sheriff, in which he has been rehired as the chief deputy. He is current on his post mandates as well as the admin mandates for this year. And we would just like to have the waiver for the transition school.
Major, is there any documentation in his file as to who his field training officer was by chance?
Which one?
Is there any documentation in his personnel file as to who his field training officer was?
I do not see that.
That's good. That's good. Okay. I think based on this might have been could have been an administrative approval, being that he's never had any break in service and was a federal officer. Is there any questions on that, Commissioner Forrester?
I just asked what he did for TVA.
He was Mark, are you online?
I am here if you can hear me.
Yes, can you explain to the commission what you did for TVA?
Yes, I was a TVA police officer. I was what they consider inspector. So basically, if they had any issues as far as at any of our facility, any of the TVA facilities, whether it be a threat or whatever, I was tasked to look into those threats and make arrests if need be to any threats within 7 states.
Yes, thank you. You need to clarify your question.
Mr. Commissioner, also, I would like to advise the board, my original field training officer would be Mr. Chad Park.
I thought we was going to get out of that today.
What's going to make a motion to approve? But I still will.
We have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Have a second. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. We're going to let you fly today, Chief.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Major. Moving on to page 6. Go ahead if you want to.
Post reviewed and administratively approved 16 post-transition school requests, waivers, and all corresponding supporting documents. The reported documents appear to be in order and meet or exceed the minimum standards set forth by the Peace Officer Standards and Training Requirements. All of those persons are listed for the record in the agenda.
Any questions about the listed names? If not, we'll add those listed names, and then also in the addition, the post-reviewed and administratively approved 6 solo waivers requests based on the recently expired governor's orders due to the recent expiration of orders. The Post Commission has approved solo waivers and to be administratively approved until the virtual post-transition school is completed. And those names are entered into the record. Any questions on all the names of record on page 6? Hearing none, I don't think we're required to do a vote on that, so that'll allow us to go to page 7 of the agenda. We do not have any waivers of in-service, and we'll move on to the 6-month rule. The following departments are asking for a 6-month waiver. Jackson Police Department.
Jackson Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Najwa Sissy Zandlo, hired February 22nd, 2022. In July of 2022, she attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but was unable to complete training due to academic failure. She is scheduled to re-attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in April of 2023.
Okay. Was anybody online this morning from Jackson Police Department? If not, Commissioner Parker.
Do we need 2 6-month waivers for this one? It looks like there's a year.
Well, the rules state you have to register for basic academy within 6 months. Doesn't say you have to complete it within 6 months.
Let's see.
So she's registered.
All right. Well, I know with some of the times in the past, even with registration, they've requested waivers. So,
yeah, this would be similar.
I'm sorry.
This would be a similar instance.
Any questions on the request of waiver for Jackson Police Department? No, I don't know that anybody's on, but I think we can deal with this without any, what are the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries for Jackson Police Department. Laverne Police Department.
Laverne Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Jarve Shakur Campbell, hired May 10th, 2022. In July of 2022, Mr. Campbell attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but was unable to complete training due to academic failure. Mr. Campbell is scheduled to re-attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in January of 2023.
Anybody with the Laverne Police Department with us today?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Did I hear a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you. Mount Pleasant Police Department.
Mount Pleasant Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Dominique Green, hired October 31st, 2022. Mr. Green is scheduled to attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in April of 2023.
Anybody here to make any remarks on behalf of Mount Pleasant? Hearing none, what's the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve.
Motion. Second. Second. Discussion.
I don't think they need a waiver because he was registered within 6 months. Yeah.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to page 8. Sharon Police Department.
The Sharon Police Department requests a 6-month waiver for Jeffrey Joseph Weaver, hired August 29th, 2022. In October of 2022, Mr. Weaver attended the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy, but was unable to complete training due to an injury. If medically cleared, Mr. Weaver is scheduled to re-attend the Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy in April of 2023.
Anybody with Sharon Police Department? Any discussion? What's the wishes of the board? Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a second. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Waiver none for the waivers of the 8-month rules. We do not have any medical waivers. We have 0 military waivers. And we're over on page 9, applications for training officer. 2 investigators have been reviewed and approved for training officer, and they appear to meet the criteria for approval. And they don't have any. So those 2 do, and then we don't have any that need the instructor development. So I have a motion to approve the 2. Second. Have a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Applications for certified instructor. We have 25 that have been reviewed and approved. And we do not have any for instructor development or approved substitute. And then we have a list of names, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 names that are going to be entered into the record for the 1-year training officer requirement. Any discussion on applications for certified instructors? Hearing not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
So moved. There's a second. Have a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Curriculum and tests. Post investigators have reviewed 95 in-service and specialized training classes this month. Any questions on that?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. There's a second. Have a second. Discussion. Does that seem to be up or down now in those numbers? We never really talk about that.
Service?
Yeah, for stats and specialized schools. I just wondered.
That's about right.
About right. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Moving on to page 10. We're showing that we do not have any old business. Moving to new business for discussion, we have at the top of the list Franklin County Sheriff's Office.
Adam Paul Lindsay was hired on January 14th, 2022. However, Post did not receive the required paperwork until November 10th, 2022.
Is anybody appearing for Franklin County this morning?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can, and I can see you. And can you tell us who you are? Or tell the board, I know who you are, but tell the rest of these commissioners, please, who you are and what you're asking for of us this morning, sir.
Yes, sir. My name's Sergeant Sam Davidson, and I'm joined by Chief Brent Perry. Sheriff Parton, as you know, my predecessor was actually in the middle of a campaign throughout the summer, and he prepared a packet for Mr. Lindsay, but it did not get submitted. As you said, Mr. Lindsay was hired by us in January. He started with Cleveland State in May. He graduated August 4th, which is obviously election day. It's my belief that the packet didn't get submitted. I was conducting an audit and I realized that the packet was never submitted. He was not on our personnel roster. I immediately called the post office, let them know of what was going on. And at their direction, I wrote a letter and submitted it with his packet explaining the situation. And at their direction, they sent back, hey, you need to come before the post commission and explain this. And that's what we're doing, sir.
And kind of let us scold on you a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And your predecessor, you said he was running for office. What?
Yes, sir, he was.
So if he was running for office and he's no longer there, what did he get elected to in Franklin County?
Mayor, county mayor.
Yeah. Did you call your county mayor and tell him he screwed some paperwork up at the sheriff's office and he's going to have to come before this board?
No, sir.
Is everything squared up, Brad? Okay. I have a motion to approve. Second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. I sure do glad we got to see you two this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys very much. Y'all have a great day.
Scott County Sheriff's Office.
Scott County Sheriff's Office. Daniel Lee Garrett was hired on February 27, 2022. However, post did not receive the required paperwork until October 28, 2022.
Is anybody with Scott County Sheriff's Office this morning?
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Kevin Marlowe is here. Good morning, Commission.
Good morning, sir. I guess you've sat through the meeting. You kind of see how this goes. Can you kind of explain to us what happened?
Well, yes, sir. I'll do my best. On September 1st of this year, we had a newly elected sheriff, and I was appointed as his training officer. And within the first few months, I noticed that Deputy Garrett was missing from our roles, according to the Post Commission. As I looked through his file, I found some paperwork where they had apparently, previous administration had apparently done some paperwork to rectify this, but I do not believe it was ever submitted to the commission for approval. So I rectified the situation as quickly as I could. Deputy Garrett is a upstanding officer and doing well with this department.
Okay. Is all paperwork good, Mr. Director? Okay. Everything seems to be in good compliance here with the Post Commission now. Is there any more questions or discussion? I have a motion to approve. Your second. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, sir, and thank you for your patience this morning.
Thank you, Commission. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
You too, sir. Anybody with the Tresvant, how do you pronounce it? Tresvant Police Department. Where is that? Where is that located?
Middle Tennessee, Carroll County.
Where?
Carroll County.
Carroll County.
Yes, sir. This is Chief Mike Mully with Tresvant Police Department. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you go over with the commission the issue we've had on did not receiving the paperwork?
I can, sir, and I've got to be honest with you, this is totally on me. We rehired Officer Nick Roberts in January, and I went into the ACADIS portal, which I had at the time had very little experience with, and I just kind of entered him as an employee and never submitted a packet. I never went back into the ACADIS portal until October. Nick is our only full-time officer here at the department. In October, I started going back into the portal, and that's when I realized he was rejected. At that time, I contacted Post and got his packet together and got everything submitted, and it's since been approved. And I'm proud to say that November the 29th and 30th, I was able to attend the ACADIS training in hopes that this never happens again.
Did the ACADIS training help you, sir?
I'm glad you asked me that, because I wanted to make sure that please thank every one of those people in that office up there. They are an amazing group of individuals, very welcoming, very knowledgeable, and they seem to definitely have the post commission and the department's best interest at heart.
Well, thank you, sir. Everything squared away. Everything seems to be in line. Is there any questions? Motion to approve. Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, and have a Merry Christmas, everyone.
You too. Whitwell Police Department. I'm sorry, Whitwell Police Department. I was in the valley there for a minute.
David Thomas Neighbors.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Your audio's a little off, but can you go over just a little bit about the situation for Officer Neighbors?
Yes, sir. The situation at the time whenever he was hired, we was a 7-man department. At the time, we was already 1 short. Then all of a sudden, I lost 2 more officers. One was my captain, one was my sergeant, and then I lost my K-9 officer. I hired Officer Neighbors to come over as a K-9 officer. He came from Mason. They at the time they were starting to cut their department down. I knew he was an outstanding K-9 handler, so I brought him on board here. I didn't realize until we was getting ready to start getting stuff together to submit in service this year. Whenever I realized that his packet had not been sent in, and to be quite honest, that all falls on me. I'm the certified GDI. I'm the one that's been through the classes and stuff, so I'm the one that's supposed to submit the paperwork to y'all. We was good on everything on our human resources and with them having everything, but of course y'all didn't. So at the end of the day, that falls on me.
Okay. Is Mr. Director, is everything squared for this department? Yes. Okay. Any questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion to approve. Second. Have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time on this morning.
Thank you, Commission. Hopefully we don't have to have a discussion again.
Okay. Moving on to the last item of the agenda, Tennessee Law Enforcement Training Academy.
TLETA requests a waiver of the Rule 1110-07.03 1B requirement that basic law enforcement schools be limited to 75 persons. TLETA requests that it be permitted to hold 4 basic law enforcement schools of up to 140 persons each during the 2023 calendar year.
Mr. Director, how many years have we waived this that you know of?
As long as I've been writing them. So it's been several years. Yes, sir.
Any questions on this? Go ahead, Commissioner Parson.
No, first off, I do understand people are short. We need to have a lot of people trained. If I'm not mistaken, the pastures went at 125 as opposed to 140.
I think last year's was 135. Prior to that, it has been increasing over the course of a number of years. And I think I believe the initial increase might have been when we got a large influx of training staff in order to support that.
Well, my comments are going to be brief. One, generally speaking, smaller class sizes result in better outcomes for students. 2, I reviewed the section of the rules that those waivers, even though there is precedent, there's nothing in the rules that allow for a waiver of the class size.
I have comments.
Commissioner Wagner.
So it's not really limited to 75, it was 135.
We were granted a waiver last year for 135.
So now we're just asking for 5 more.
Yes, sir.
So we've been operating with that for a number of years, I guess what we're saying.
I'm not sure how long we've operated 135.
At least the time I've been here with that. Okay.
How many does the classroom hold these students?
I'm not sure of the exact number, but I had a combined class with the Department of Safety yesterday, and we had, I think we had about 100, somewhere between 160 and 170 in there with a few rows that were open in between the two classes. Is that in the auditorium? Yes, sir.
And has the academy looked at having an additional class per year to lower these class sizes?
We've looked at a lot of different things. Absolutely, sir. And this is where we're at right now as far as a solution for getting as many people trained as possible. But if one were to speak to the director, he's constantly thinking of different ways in order to
is the director
improve the program.
Director Kane, are you online by chance?
I am, Chairman.
Hey, it's a question I've never asked, but I know this was one thing that bringing on the new Maleta talks and trying to get done what everybody's working on right now. But I guess I've never asked the question, but would we be able to have like multiple basic schools going on at Maleta, like 2 basic schools, or sometime maybe overlapping?
We have in our plan. I'm sorry, Chairman, go ahead.
No, is that I've never, I don't know that I've ever heard that conversation, but I was thinking with at some point in time, the highway patrol might not have a class, and that would allow us to have dual classes going on.
Well, first of all, I apologize to the commission for not being able to be there in person today. I just want to start by wishing everybody Merry Christmas, and thank you for all that you've done in this last calendar year. But to answer your question, when we were planning for the Multi-Agency Law Enforcement Training Academy, we went back to the table, and everybody that was moving to that academy basically sat down with what best case scenario scheduling. What would we do if we could do it? And so THP and TLETA can have multiple academy classes going on at the same time. As a matter of fact, we were very aggressive in our scheduling, our planning to schedule for this new academy. And so they understand that we want to have multiple classes going on at the same time that are smaller. And I'll say this, smaller classes, to Commissioner Forrester's point, are easier to manage for sure. I think our learning outcomes have been just fine with the classes that we've been running up around 135. One thing to keep in mind, commissioners, is that we're not going to have 135, or in this case, 140 people on the firing line or on the driving track or in the gym for defensive tactics or going through active shooter training. We break those things down into smaller groups. So we actually have groups, and even at 140, that will be smaller than 40 officers per group, going through those what we would call specialized areas or physical skills on driving, defensive tactics, investigations and tactics, and firearms. So when it comes time for them to learn, and they really need a smaller group size, they do get that smaller group size. This really only impacts the lecture hall, which I think anybody that's been to, of course, I think in-person college may be a thing of the past, who knows, but I remember when I was going to school, it was nothing to be in a 300-person auditorium with 300 other college students in there for lectures. So, but I'm sorry for that long-winded answer. But to answer your question, our focus moving forward, once we get to move to this wonderful new facility that breaks ground this spring, will be to have multiple classes going on at the same time.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Forrester.
2 questions. One, if you're having 140 people there, which is almost double that which is set in the rules currently, what's to prevent y'all to just say those are 2 separate classes, and when you have the lectures, you bring them into the same room for the lecture? And then
I think to that point, Commissioner Forrester, that would almost be, in my opinion, dishonest. I mean, if we're going to be running them at the same time, they're not different classes. They are the same class. They would have this, same class counselor. If we tried to do that, we would have to have 2 class counselors, 2 groups of class leadership. And we would rather have 1 class of 140 instead of 2 groups at 70 that are there at the exact same time.
Or possibly stagger. It'd be possible to stagger them a few weeks, or there are any number of ways to do that if the resources are there. And then 2, as far as the data, have y'all actually kept up with the percentage rate of success and failure with this compared to previous classes as the size has grown?
I mean, I don't have that data like readily available at my fingertips, but we have over the previous 5 years, not counting 2022, have roughly an 81% overall completion rate or on-time completion rate, I think. But like I said, I don't have that data right at my fingertips. But I mean, you know, we have found ways to make our cadets more successful. And I credit our team, and it's not by lowering the standard. You know, we don't have and I use the obstacle course as an example. You know, we don't have a 100% pass rate on the obstacle course, but we're pretty close. And I remember when I went through back in 2010, I don't think it was nearly that close. We had several people, I think, that failed in that class on the obstacle course, or that didn't get it the first time through. And the way we changed, you know, or the way we changed that outcome was to change the way we did PT training. So we've not lowered any standards. So, I mean, we're constantly tracking that. I mean, I'm sure that Assistant Director Rather and AD Bello up there are probably, you know, probably thinking in their mind, yes, we've had this conversation, but, you know, we are always constantly tracking that. You know, we don't want to do anything that's going to result in, you know, a higher percentage of failures at the academy, because we really own that problem if that's the case. But as far as the quality and the output, we don't expect, you know, adding 5 additional cadets going up from 135 to 140 is going to, you know, make a vast difference in the success or failure of the cadets and the quality of training that they receive at the academy.
And then with the comment about the additional staff members, by having only one set of class counselors and whatnot for such a large group, does that not reduce the one-on-one time that instructors can actually spend with the students going through the training?
I mean, I think the class counselor is not what I don't think is what you're asking. I mean, we're only going to have, you know, the law lectures, for example. I'm not going to have our legal team do 2 separate sets of law lectures just so that we can maintain 2 70-person classes. You know, you're essentially asking us to conduct 8 law enforcement basic training programs during the course of the year when we have the facilities and we have the team and we have the staff to conduct a basic training program of, as we're requesting, up to 140 basic cadets. The class counselor basically makes sure that the class gets to where they need to get on time, the discipline is maintained, and we have a co-counselor and then a co-counselor, basically a second and a third in command for the class. So, you know, one-on-one time, I think for any academy, whether you're doing, you know, 70 or 140, we don't have a ton of one-on-one time anyway. I mean, lecture hall is lecture hall. People that need the additional assistance on the firing line get it at the range. People that need remedial driving training, they get that there. And so, you know, it's not rocket science, but at the end of the day, people that do need additional assistance are able to get that additional assistance.
Commissioner Russell.
So these 140 people, they will be here at Toledo on Lebanon Road?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And will they be housed here in the evenings too?
Yes, sir. It's a residential academy, so we have the housing capacity for all 140. We have I mean, we've been making do with the kitchen and the dining room. That's one of the great things about this new Melita project that we're super excited about. You know, better rooms, better dining experience, but all of the things that we need, Commissioner, to be able to conduct this academy, we have those facilities.
What's the fire marshal's limit on people to be housed and to have classes that size?
You know, I'm not sure about the fire marshal's limit, but I do know that we're not overextending rooms past what they're designed for.
Okay, and has other academies made a similar request like this? And if so, have they been granted?
It's mostly.
That I'm not sure of.
Yes, in previous Metro Nashville, some time ago.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Second, any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Have one opposed. Motion carries. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Good seeing all of you. Motion to adjourn. And I have a motion to adjourn. And we cannot.
Sorry to
we
rain on your
cannot
parade.
leave. We cannot ignore our lead counsel that's been here quietly all morning. You are duly recognized, Ms. Cooper.
Thank you, sir. We do need to address the calendar for the 2023 meeting dates right now. Hearing wise, we do have a hearing, possibly two for January 19th at 1 o'clock, one of them being former Trooper Matsunada. We also have hearing dates that have already been scheduled for April 20th and October 19th, which corresponds with our usual third Thursday and third Friday of the month. If you look at your iPads, Ms. Taylor has helpfully already added a calendar that's got the business meeting dates listed in red on there.
And also, could y'all send out an email of those?
The hearing dates? Yes, sir.
You know, just any details that really helps.
Yes, sir.
Maybe just with the calendar.
Yeah, or send us a calendar via email.
Yes, we can get that out. Director Haynes asked if we can do it March 3rd, Friday.